Have you ever heard someone say, "I'm taking Social Security as soon as possible because I want to get my money's worth"? Typically, that's followed by the idea that Social Security is running out of money and won't be able to pay benefits for the long term. It's one of the most common conversations that I have with retirees, and honestly, I understand the logic. If you claim Social Security at age 62, you will receive benefits for more years. If you delay, you'll receive fewer checks, but each one will be significantly larger. Most people then ask an important question, and that question is, what is my break-even age? Today, we're looking at a Vanguard research paper titled Claiming Social Security Early, a Spectrum of Break-Even and Longevity Risks. What I appreciate about this paper is that Vanguard suggests investors may be asking the wrong question. Instead of focusing only on break-even ages, they encourage focusing on the specific risks that you're trying to manage, which can be very personal and situation-specific. Welcome to Data Brief, where we break down the data behind investing so that you can make more informed decisions based on facts and not feelings. I'm your host, Eli Freeman, a certified financial planner, and every week we dive into the research, studies, and statistics that can help investors make smarter financial decisions and avoid costly mistakes. As always, let's look at the data. The central argument of Vanguard's paper is that every Social Security claiming decision involves balancing two competing risks. The first is break-even risk, the risk that you delay benefits but pass away before receiving enough additional income to justify waiting. And the second is longevity risk, the risk that you live longer than expected and run out of assets later in retirement or have less income because you turned it on early. Traditional guidance to delay Social Security is largely designed to reduce longevity risk, since delaying increases your inflation-adjusted lifetime income. In a limited case study involving a retiree that has substantial assets and a low longevity risk, claiming Social Security early may improve the projected wealth outcomes in their paper. However, this result is highly dependent on the individual circumstance, and in many situations, claiming early can reduce lifetime income and increase financial risk, particularly for those who rely on Social Security as a primary income source. That distinction is important. To illustrate this, Vanguard presented several hypothetical case studies based on modeled assumptions. In one example, a single retiree with sufficient assets to meet their spending needs and relatively low longevity risk showed higher projected wealth across portions of retirement when claiming at age 62. From a purely wealth-focused perspective, claiming early appeared favorable in that scenario. However, it's important to recognize what wasn't included in that analysis. The study primarily focused on wealth outcomes and Social Security timing, but many retirees make decisions within a much broader financial framework. For example, delaying Social Security can create years of relatively low taxable income between retirement and required minimum distributions. Those years may present opportunities for things like Roth conversions at more favorable tax rates. Starting Social Security earlier can, in some cases, reduce the flexibility for strategies like Roth conversions, depending on income levels. Healthcare planning is another factor. For retirees who are not yet eligible for Medicare, income may affect eligibility for healthcare subsidies, and Social Security timing can influence those outcomes. In certain circumstances, financial professionals may evaluate strategies such as healthcare subsidy optimization, Roth conversions, and capital gain harvesting, and though these approaches often involve trade-offs and depend heavily on individual circumstances, they can be delayed because you turn on Social Security early. So, while Vanguard's conclusion shows that claiming early can make sense in certain circumstances, it's important not to evaluate that decision solely through the lens of wealth accumulation. So let's walk through 3 key takeaways from Vanguard's research that I really liked. The first is just the general premise around longevity risk. Vanguard highlights the importance of understanding how long retirement may last when making Social Security decisions. For many retirees, longevity risk is a significant concern, though its importance varies depending on health, family history, and financial resources. Advances in healthcare and technology may extend your life expectancy, and that makes it really important to consider the possibility of a longer retirement than you might expect. Planning for a longer time horizon can help manage the financial risks associated with outliving assets, though individual circumstances should always guide that decision. Social Security is one of the few sources of guaranteed lifetime income that adjusts for inflation, which makes it an important part of that discussion. The second takeaway is taking into account your surviving spouse. For married couples, Social Security decisions affect more than just one individual. When one spouse passes away, the surviving spouse generally retains the larger of the two benefits. This means that the higher earner's benefit may ultimately last for the lifetime of the surviving spouse. Because of that, in many situations, you may just evaluate whether delaying the higher earner's benefit is appropriate, particularly when longevity risk is a concern, because the higher earner's benefit lasts the longest. The third takeaway is spousal benefits. For couples, when one spouse has earned significantly more than the other, the lower earning spouse may be eligible for a spousal benefit, subject to eligibility rules. In general, a spousal benefit is up to 50% of the higher earner's benefit at full retirement age. One important distinction is that unlike an individual retirement benefit, spousal benefits do not increase beyond full retirement age. So as a result, delaying past full retirement age, which is generally 67 years old, does not increase the spousal benefit. So what's the ultimate takeaway from Vanguard's research? Well, Vanguard is not suggesting that everyone should claim Social Security early. Instead, the key message is the right decision depends on the specific risks that you are trying to manage. If longevity risk is a primary concern, then delaying benefits may help provide more lifetime income. If financial resources are substantial and the risk of running out of assets is low, and you don't have any other planning considerations, then you may turn it on early, and that may be the best thing for you and your family. The right approach depends less on age alone and more on a broader financial situation and your objectives. And that's exactly why Social Security planning remains one of the most important decisions in retirement. If you find this helpful and you want to learn more about managing costs in retirement, specifically around insurance costs, you can check this video out here.